Hello, scruftards, degenerate basement dwellers, and random freaks online. Welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And we're gonna take a look at Kursk, where Russia keeps trucking on, not really in big fashion, but we can see indications on where they want to go next, at least. And it all feels as if it's building up to when Russia is ready to put real pressure on the Ukrainian logistics that might actually affect the outcome of the entire Kursk operation. Russia is in a spot where they are soon ready and able to make a push for the Ukrainian logistical lines, which is concerning. So let's take a look at it. Right, so ISW's map for Kursk. We have here Russia having crossed the river Pesel. Up here they have crossed at Sverdlikovo the Lochnia River, and they are pushing towards Lebedivka. I will show you some further evidence that this is happening besides just having geolocated Russians over here. And also we have this big claim by Russian sources that Russia is heading for a town called Basilivka within Ukraine. And it's been partially confirmed by other mappers, this big push. And we'll continue with Andrew Perpetua's map. So here we have Andrew's map for Kursk. And we were talking about Lebedevka, right? Russia is pushing towards this town. We'll go back a couple of days here, one day. On the 23rd, you can see here drone attack, Ukrainian drone attack against Russian targets within the outskirts of Lebedevka. Just like we talked about, or have been talking about, that once they took Sverdlikovo, one of the options was to follow the river towards Lebedevka to secure this bridge right here over the Lochnia River. And now moving forward, massive Russian bombardment of the town itself. Probably more than likely a prelude to an assault with infantry, maybe vehicles, but definitely an infantry assault will follow a shelling of this magnitude. This is to obviously an attempt to kill as many enemies as possible, but also reduce fortifications to rubble, force the enemy into hiding within the basements of the town, and once the shelling stops, you then move in before the enemy can move out back to fire positions and open fire at you. So I'm thinking we're gonna see some updates of fighting within this town with the next couple of updates. Would be my guess. Otherwise, I don't know why you would aim a massive barrage like this when you the day before had infantry moving into the outskirts. So Russia's after that final bridge. Where might they go then? They may continue once they have Lebedevka to follow the river towards Bogdanovka is on the far side of the river, so that may be a tall order unless they can push in here to the north of Lebedevka and follow. Then you have another river right here coming down the Malaya Lochnia River. So maybe not. Maybe, who knows? Anyway, you're gonna have 3 bridges crossing the river Lochnia here for the Russians, and that puts them into striking distance of this windbreak. You have windbreaks here. Out of Sverdlikovo, they can push it south and reach windbreaks here and move into these valleys here like we've talked about before. And of course, Andrew Perpetua also confirms in part the Russian push towards Basivka. Andrew has Russians in this part here having pushed through Ukrainian positions. All of this was Ukrainian held and should have been fairly easily defendable, I guess, with windbreaks and trenches. But if we go back a couple of days, here you have Russians assaulting or attacking, I should say, a Ukrainian assault coming up from Novenki towards Sverdlikovo. As you can see, this is Ukrainian at the time. This was where you had some mechanized units, including the 21st Mechanized, famously for operating the Swedish CV-90 vehicles, as well as the STRV-122 main battle tanks. I'm thinking Ukraine maybe actually pulled back from this area to launch an assault up towards Sverdlikovo a day or so before that. We also had a Ukrainian vehicle destroyed up here, trying to push up north to come in behind Sverdlikovo as the Russians were pushing in. And then we had this push. So maybe the reason Russia managed to push down this far or through this area is because Ukraine allocated forces over here to launch an assault on Sverdlikovo, which gave an opportunity for Russia to push into these windbreaks here. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Let's see here, my map. Right. Sverdlikovo, Russia has pushed into these regions here and are in control. And if Basivka is the target, maybe that's just an assumption, since they were pushing down this way. But it certainly is within Russian reach, has to be said. Maybe not across these wide open fields, but you can move down here. See, there's a point of contact here where Russia can gain access to a lot of cover that will take them quite a ways towards reaching Basivka. So we may see Russia continue down this way in this part here, trying to reach Basivka. Also, obviously up here, having taken out a bunch of Ukrainian vehicles, maybe that will give them an opportunity when the Ukrainians have lost resources to push south into all of this cover here in the woods right next to the Lochnia River. And I mean, this is favorable terrain for infantry to move through, reaching Novenki and pushing further south. So Russia has the potential ability to attack Basivka from two sides, from the west and from the north. Will it happen? Who knows? Maybe the Russians are satisfied taking this territory after Ukraine moved vehicles over here, which I assume happened. We'll see what happens and if we get more updates in the day and tomorrow. And of course, Russia has pushed out this way into Lebedevka, and Lebedevka is being hammered, as it were, by missile artillery. And here we can see windbreaks out in fields that Russia may want to push out and secure in the end. They can also push down here into this area east of the Lochnia River, and from here utilize cover, fighting their way through windbreaks to reach these vital valleys. I've talked about this in my latest videos. If Russia can get down here, coming this way, or maybe trying to come across the fields. Remember, they took Sverdlikovo by attacking across these fields, bypassing Ukrainian positions in these windbreaks. So it could happen again, reaching the lake and the valley and the windbreaks, establishing a presence, and then pushing down slowly to this main supply route, which is also, the supply route is also in danger. If Russia manages to reach Basivka, then Russia can actually push towards the main supply route, or even not even pushing towards it, just set up shop and bring in all the drones they need to effectively shut it down. Russia has pushed across the river Pisel over here, more than likely coming across here where they had cover up to the river and then push across. Ukraine bombed this compound here with an airstrike, so more than likely this acted as the Russian forward base of operations, trying to establish a foothold. And from here, Russia can push up on these large hills, push through all this wooded area to threaten the least favorable logistical routes for Ukraine, but still viable options should this main supply route be cut. So Russia is pushing in this area here, threatening in logistics, closing in to the north, getting ready for a big push, getting even closer to the logistical routes. And here, maybe we'll see a Russian push towards Basivka as well. No further updates on Cherkasskaya Konopelka today, maybe later tonight. But we have Russians within Cherkasskaya Konopelka. Remember, this is where Ukraine can push down in grand fashion, reach Fanasevka, and almost pushed into Ulanok. The Russians held the line at Ulanok and has since pushed into Fanasevka, and we have geolocated Russian infantry within Cherkasskaya Konopelka and within Fanasevka. So Russia is pushing Ukraine back where Ukraine made that grand assault, 2 weeks ago. Of course, pro-Ukrainian sources, I'm pro-Ukrainian, but the other sources, they focus on Russia's failed attempts of reaching Nikolsky, with a bunch of Russian forces being destroyed trying to cross these wide open spaces. Some rumors has it that Russia is in control of Nikolsky, but have been isolated. The troops in the village have been isolated. They can't be reinforced. No idea if that's true or not. But we do know that out in these fields, Russians have suffered massively trying to cross, reaching this small village here of Nikolsky. That's basically, we have some more fighting up north and what have you, but nothing that has caused any major changes on the map and so forth. So that's Kursk at the moment. Russia has a presence down here. They are well and truly they have well and truly gotten across the river Lochnia, pushing up along the river towards Lebedevka. Lebedevka is heavily bombarded, and Russia has some options, if the rumors are true, if the claims are true, to advance towards Basivka in the end. And Ukraine can hold out for a couple of months more. Absolutely. It's taken Russia how long to advance across these fields? A month or two. It may take Russia a month or two to push into Basivka. It may take Russia 2 or 3 months, if not more, pushing through this area. So fighting may still be ongoing in Kursk for several months, but we are now reaching a point where every Russian gain puts them so much closer to cutting a vital supply line. And if they can push out here in a month, then this route here is basically useless. You can't bring in more troops and supplies through Gornal North, if this happens, that is. And then Ukraine is down to one single supply line, the one that they are mainly focusing on anyways. But still, pushing into Lebedevka puts Russia that much closer to being able to push across these open fields. Pushing down here has put Russia well and truly within reach of Basivka. Reaching Basivka, you are right on top of the supply line. But we have to remember, this push came out of nowhere, successful. Russia could make a push of right across here that may become successful. We saw the same thing when Russia pushed out of where the hell was it? Koronevo. When they came down like bats out of hell down along this highway here, all the way down to Nova Ivanovka, remember? They started up here and drove like bats out of hell all the way down here, bypassing Ukrainian defenses and breaching out the perimeter, and then moved down here and unloaded a bunch of troops and established a presence, and that in the end forced a big collapse of the front line. Classic blitzkrieg, armored warfare, modern warfare. Something like that could happen here as well. Russia can build up forces in Sverdlovskovo, behind Sverdlovskovo, and then make a thunder run, as it were, straight at this lake here, and deploy troops. Push through, maybe establish a presence here. Not sure they want to reach all the way to the crossing here, because this is definitely heavily contested by Ukraine. But the lake and the next windbreak, absolutely. So this could happen in a day or a week from now, or it will happen 2 or 3 months from now, or not at all. I'm just saying things can happen fast up here in Kursk. So just because it took Russia months and months to push in through Plekovo and eventually reach the river Pesel doesn't mean it will take months and months for Russia to push through here to Basivka, or to push beyond Sverdlovskovo towards the lake, right? And if Russia pulls something like that off, they are right on top of these vital supply lines. So it's that's why I'm worried, because in Kursk things can happen fast. We saw Ukraine trying this push, it got countered. Ukraine successfully attacked down here. Russia tried to push in here, that got countered. Russia tried to push into Sverdlovskovo, that succeeded. Russia pushed out of Koronevo to Snagost, that succeeded. They then tried to push on to Yubimovka, that failed. They then moved from Koronevo straight down for Novoyanovka, which succeeded and forced Ukraine to fall back from all of this area here. So things can happen fast in Kursk. Not just, even if most of the time it's grinding, slow grinding, like we've seen here at Kruglenko and elsewhere. But all of a sudden, something big happens and the front lines shift in relatively quick order. So, yeah, and Russia, I mean, if Russia pulls something like, I'm rambling, but if Russia pulls a similar attack, manages a similar attack like we've seen with these big pushes out of nowhere, where they are right now, from Sverdlovskovo, for instance, boom, then they are on top of the supply route. Same thing here. If they manage another push like this into Basivka, then they are right on top of the supply route. So they are one big push away from threatening the supplies leading into Kursk and the supplies that are supporting the entire campaign. Long rant that could have been condensed into 1 minute, that Russia needs one good push and then they're on top of the vital supply line. But I decided to extend that to 5 minutes of me messing shit up. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, that is Kursk for today. At present, things may change during the day and later tonight. Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. Yes, Ukraine may counterattack. They may contain the Russians at these crucial locations. That may very well happen. But like I pointed out, Kursk is fluid. All of a sudden, yeah, you can have these static lines for 2 or 3 weeks, and then boom, something happens. You have a big breakthrough. Ukraine tries something. Russia tries something. Maybe we'll see Ukraine launch a successful assault into Sverdlovskovo, for instance. From the south, like we saw them try earlier. Could happen. Likewise, we may see a big push from Russia where they gain a lot of territory by breaching Ukrainian front lines and coming in behind them, like we've seen on several occasions before in Kursk. So that is why the situation at the moment is dangerous, because if Russia pulls off one of those surprise raids, surprise assaults, that have been happening in Kursk before, where they are at the moment in Sverdlovskovo and elsewhere. I mean, they may be right on top of Ukrainian logistics, and if that happens a week from now, it could happen 2 months from now, but they are in a position where they can build up for such a push, and then they can very effectively shut down logistics for Ukrainian, or at least disrupt it heavily, so that it will affect the front line elsewhere within Russia. So that's why I'm worried. Hopefully Ukraine can find an ace up their sleeve and turn things around. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully Ukraine can sort it out. So, well, yeah, that's gonna have to be it. I hope I'll see you in the next one. As always, go på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.